Have you been wondering if your story makes sense? Is your story something that people want to even listen to? Or is your story something that people need to hear? If that's you, this episode is made just for you. Let's dive in. I want to dive right into this one because this is one that gets misunderstood a lot. And I think it has so much value for anybody who creates any form of content, whether you be a personal brand or a business that's bigger. It does make sense to have your story of some sort in your content. Now, if you see me looking down, I got some notes down that I do want to make sure I read because I want this to land home for you and help you out. When we create content, our goal is to be relevant, to be relatable, and to be able to share solutions with the world. Or as Frank Kern would say, we want to make RAM. We want to have our content be results and advanced marketing. Means I want to give you something that you can actually go and implement and help you before you even buy from me, right? Consider that helping somebody before you ask for their money. Really good idea. Really good thing you should be doing. Now, with that being said, what we usually do is sometimes become so professional that we take out all the human side of who we are, and that eliminates our story. We want to put some of that in there because people actually come to buy because they somehow like us, right? Most of the time, people are buying because they like, love, and trust you of some sort. And if not, then you have an extra bonus point on your score sheet. So let's read these three and then we'll break them down. The first one, your brand is your story. Number two, your content is a map. Number three, your product is a game. So first one, your brand is your story. When you hear brands or you know about brands who you connect with on a deeper level, you usually connect with them on a deeper level because of their story. It's something that they did, that they overcame, that they battled with, that they wrestled, that you identify with or you relate to. Like we like Nike, not just because Nike makes cool sneakers, but the owner had a lot of struggles that he had to overcome. He eventually got Michael Jordan, which ended up sending Nike far. And right, Nike's probably the most reputable sneaker brand probably in history. Right, that can be argued, but as Floyd Mayweather would say, numbers don't lie. Now, with that, if he didn't share the stories about him being denied, there's a part of the story where he had to literally tell his vendors, hey, I need you guys to pay my payroll because I can't make the payroll. And if I can't make the payroll, I can't service you guys anymore. All of those things makes the story that much sweeter why we want to do business with them or why we fall in love with the brand. You know, there are certain brands that you know that if they didn't tell their story, they would just be a regular brand. They would just be the regular Joe Schmo and we wouldn't care about them. So my question for you is, how could you tell your story that people say, hey, you know, I want to do business with them. I want to partner with them. I want to do life with them because I love what they represent. When I tell my story about failing tests, failing personal training certifications and having to take them over again, about how I used to be so insecure about my teeth, my skin color, my height, how I failed so much, people gravitate towards that. And I'm not saying that to just literally throw smoke at the air. I'm saying that because it's a part of me. I talk about my failures on Instagram and social media and things like that. I talk about my successes. I talk about my losses. I talk about my wins because I want people to gravitate to something in my story that relates to them. The second part, your content is a roadmap. When we share content, right, we give the listeners a map to go on, or like I like to say, a course to go on to get an answer. If someone finds out, hey, Drew used to have a lot of hate towards his father, Drew got stabbed a long time ago, Drew did this long time ago, these things happen, I'm giving them a map with my content to see why they may want to do business with me or they may not. And I love that. And that's one reason why I tell people, don't be scared to create content. Don't be scared to post. Don't be scared to post multiple times a day. You never know who's watching. Don't wait to go viral. Make so many first base hits that it adds up and it wins the game. It's one thing to hit a home run and to lose the game than to have the other team hitting just first base runs, second base runs, and they win the whole game. The last one, your product is a game. This is when people actually buy what you offer. And it usually comes in those stages. People don't just cold buy as much as we think. They want to know somehow how this brand is reputable. Do I relate to this brand? Does this brand solve a need? Now, some of the needs that the brand would actually solve is people want to have either better relationships, more money, and probably happiness. Most business solutions are going to be in one of those categories, right? You could go ahead and put like subcategories underneath them, but people want either better relationships, more money, happiness, and I would probably say getting time back. That's one that's very, 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 very common. With that being said, you have to ask yourself, how does my story and my product fit one of those categories? Does your product or service help people make more money or save money? Does your product, service help people have better relationships or get out of relationships that they shouldn't be in? Does your product or service help people find happiness or contentment? Does your service or product help people get their time back? If you can think about those categories, yes, you can get cute and fancy and think about subcategories, but if it's in those categories, you have a better shot. Now, with that, when I say your brand is your story, your brand is the first thing that people recognize. They come to you, they see you of some sort. Yes, you could think about colors and things like that, but it's kind of the impression that people have about you and what you do. That's really your brand. When we think about Steve Jobs, we think about Apple, we think about the tagline, think big. When we think about Nike, we think about just doing it. So think, what do people think about my brand? My story does have a part in that. What do people think about my brand? Probably based on my story and the solutions that I give to people. What do people think about my brand? I'll ask you a question. What do you want your brand to be known for? What do you want your story to be known for? What do you want to be known for? With that, Gary Vaynerchuk used to always say this, and people would butcher it up, but he was so right. Document versus create. Along the way of you tackling goals and you chasing goals down, share that with the audience. The reason for that is now people are on a journey with you. They feel that they are conquering something with you, and when you reach this big goal, they feel like they've reached it too. But what you also have is a ton of social proof. You've put a lot of goodwill out. You've been naked before them. You've shown them what it takes, the good days, the bad days, and now you have a community. So I want to encourage you guys, think about this. Your brand is your story. Your content is your roadmap. You want people to be following something along the way that's going to get them to the destination that they want to be at. You don't want to just create the content just for the sake of saying I did it and to check it off. You want to create it for the fact of, or for the sake of, I want people to have a roadmap to get to where I want them to get to, or where they want to get to, which is your product is a game. I want to encourage you, don't be afraid to hide. Don't hide your story. Don't be afraid to share your story. Show your story. Show the real you. You'll realize it's a lot easier creating content, creating podcasts, creating media, writing newsletters. It's a lot easier when you're just being you. So go be great, guys. Take care.